Welcome to Hero Villains. In your opinion, who is stronger and who will win in the fight between Thing and Solomon Grundy? The Thing, whose real name is Ben Grimm, is a veteran member of the Fantastic Four. After a space flight and being affected by cosmic radiation, he transformed into a giant stone creature with skin as thick as concrete and extraordinary strength. Not only possessing tremendous muscular strength, the Thing is also a highly skilled martial artist, a former professional boxer, which helps him fight not only with force, but also with tactics. In addition, he has good endurance, stamina, and recovery, helping him to stand firm in long fights. Solomon Grundy is an immortal zombie from Slaughter Swamp. He is reborn after death with increasing strength after each resurrection. Grundy lacks the intelligence of a normal human, but in return, he possesses extreme physical strength, near-limitless endurance, and near-immortal healing. In addition, his supernatural nature allows him to withstand both magic and destructive physical attacks. Before we dive into the analysis, please click the subscribe button and remember to turn on notifications by clicking the bell icon. Thank you very much. Benjamin J. Grimm, known as the Thing, is one of the most powerful entities. He stands out as a symbol of enduring strength and steely will, second only to legendary individuals such as Juggernaut, Hulk, Sentry, and several other entities with divine powers. Initially, the Thing was classified at level 5 according to the relative strength rating system between superheroes. However, through arduous training, relentless fighting, and deeper biological mutations in his body structure, his strength has grown to level 85 and is now nearing level 100. His combat record and physical endurance are the clearest proof of his strength. The Thing once kept a giant alien spaceship from being knocked out of Earth's orbit. He has also lifted an entire deep-sea oil rig and saved a 30,000-ton skyscraper from collapsing by taking its entire weight and returning it to its original position, a feat that very few superheroes have been able to accomplish. He has proven himself to be more than just a power machine, but also a seasoned warrior. He successfully overpowered a mechanical device designed with enough power to penetrate the entire structure of a planet, which speaks to his ability to endure and counterattack at the extreme. Where many superheroes are limited in their ability to fight, he shows flexibility and undiminished strength. Notably, when confronting Namor, an entity famous for its superior strength underwater, the Thing was not only not overwhelmed, but also gained the upper hand in a duel. Although often considered weaker than the Hulk, the basic power difference is not the only deciding factor in combat. In a fierce clash with Savage Hulk, one of the most aggressive and brutal versions of the Hulk, he launched a blow strong enough to send his opponent flying and leave him stunned. Not stopping there, he also bled Green Scar, an incarnation of the Hulk with a basic power level that is much superior to Savage Hulk. More significantly, the Thing has won against the Immortal Hulk, one of the terrifying and near-mortal incarnations of the Green Goliath, who has terrified superhuman individuals like the Puppet Master and nearly lost control. Interestingly, despite often being portrayed as the underdog in his confrontations with the Hulk, he has always been a worthy opponent. The Thing relies not only on his physical strength, but also on his willpower, his extremely high endurance, and his sharp tactical thinking, allowing him to stand his ground against the most powerful of enemies. The Thing is not only known for his physical strength, but also for his versatile and powerful fighting ability. His signature technique is the thunderclap, which is a powerful clap of his hands that creates a shockwave, which is commonly known as the Hulk's signature move. Thing has performed this technique with such intensity that it can stun entities with formidable mental and physical strength, such as Magneto. Thing has demonstrated through many unbelievable feats. He defeated a T-Rex dinosaur with just a straight punch to the face. His strength is so strong that it makes the person opposite feel like he is just toying with a mediocre person, even though the opponent is actually not weak. He once easily lifted a 150-ton architectural structure made of steel and glass, a modern pyramid. Thing also proved to be resilient and not at all outmatched. He once nearly defeated Wundar, an entity with strength comparable to Superman. Particularly impressive is the fact that he carried a bomb that penetrated deep into the brain of Ego the Living Planet, a living planet with high consciousness and resistance, to detonate from within. In another fierce battle, the Thing repeatedly punched Red Hulk, a version of the Hulk with superior strength and brutality. Throughout the brutal brawl, he also once caught and held an entire collapsing skyscraper weighing about 30,000 tons, and then brought it back to a stable position. Notably, the Thing was also able to directly fight and exchange blows with the Silver Surfer, one of the most powerful cosmic entities empowered by Galactus. In the fight, he not only held his ground but also caused certain damage, proving that his strength and fighting spirit were worthy of being ranked on par with cosmic heroes. He once fought Dr. Doom on equal terms when he possessed cosmic power, a feat that was not easy when Doom, in his enhanced state, could manipulate matter and energy on a cosmic level. Thing defeated Sandman in a direct confrontation, as well as effectively confronting Miracle Man, an entity capable of manipulating illusions and controlling minds. In particular, Thing had many fierce battles with the Hulk. Although he was often the loser in those fights, during his prime, Ben Grimm was considered the third or fourth most physically powerful character in the entire Marvel Universe, behind only Hulk, Thor, and Hercules. When Ben left the Fantastic Four to stay on Battleworld during the Secret Wars event, he asked She-Hulk to replace him as the strong man of the group. At that time, she could only lift about 50 tons, equivalent to Luke Cage at that time. After the battle with Thanos, when seriously injured by War Machine, She-Hulk underwent a mutation that made her angrier, more out of control, and therefore much stronger. Thing still holds his own through his stability, loyalty, and toughness, qualities that make him an irreplaceable element in any superhero team. Subscribe to the channel, it helps us a lot, and moreover, you will see great videos every day. You are the best, thank you very much. Grundy's origin is that of a slaughterhouse worker in 1898 whose wife was raped by his unfeeling foreman, and she committed suicide while on the job. When the foreman ordered the workers to throw the corpses to the alligators, Grundy went berserk, killing his foreman and everyone else in the slaughterhouse, and then committing suicide. But it's clear that something happened shortly after. And Solomon Grundy originally appeared as a villain facing off against the first Green Lantern, Alan Scott, in 1944. This is considered the beginning of his presence in the DC universe. Over the course of his many incarnations, Solomon Grundy has constantly changed in power, making him a serious threat to superheroes of the caliber of Superman. In some versions, the entity has shown enough power to match, or at least cause significant trouble for Superman. However, there have been times, such as in The Long Halloween, when he was defeated by Batman. While this is debatable, especially since many people believe that Batman is often over the top with his utility belt and superior tactics, the main reason behind Grundy's inconsistency lies in his magical nature. His powers are rooted in magic, a form of energy that does not follow any rules. This makes characters like Grundy unpredictable, and unlike characters with fixed abilities, Grundy's powers change with each regeneration cycle. In each resurrection, he can become weak or become almost unstoppable. His most variable power came in the Justice League Unlimited series. When Grundy was infused with chaotic magic, he became a formidable force, able to defeat Superman and even tie up with Amazo, one of the most powerful beings in the DC universe. In the Injustice universe, Superman can easily fly through his body without much resistance, showing that Grundy's power was significantly weaker at that time. Grundy is not a stable entity in terms of power, but rather a chaotic embodiment of magic and death, constantly changing and regenerating with varying degrees of power. It is this inconsistency that makes him an elusive, terrifying, and tragic figure in the superhero world. It was only thanks to Hawkgirl's nth metal mace, a weapon that can interact with magical energy, that the heroes were able to harm Solomon Grundy while he was being powered by chaos magic. It was thanks to that special weapon that they were able to stop him. Not only did the chaos magic make Grundy immensely stronger, but it also made him almost invulnerable to conventional physical attacks. Grundy at the time, when he possessed the same power as the character Rhino in the Marvel Universe, it would be an attractive and balanced duel. However, it should be noted that there are many different versions and variations of Grundy in the DC multiverse, and many times those versions have fought on par with beings with much superior power than Rhino. Even though Grundy often maintains balance in battles against opponents possessing cosmic or god-level power, he is not simply a crazy muscle. In the Justice League series, Grundy once had a touching moment when he sacrificed his his life to help the heroes defeat a dark entity from Cthulhu, a creature that brings cosmic horror. However, death is never the end for Grundy. When he is reborn and receives the source of chaotic magic, he is no longer quiet or obscure. Grundy became completely enraged, uncontrollable, and extremely dangerous. His newfound power made him capable of causing havoc on a massive scale, forcing the entire Justice League to join forces to stop him. Even Amazo, an entity that had easily defeated the entire Justice League and the Green Lantern Corps, was unable to defeat Solomon Grundy in his chaos magic enhanced state. Amazo was one of the most powerful entities ever created, capable of copying the abilities and skills of any superhero he faced. Yet before Solomon Grundy, he was forced to retreat to find a way to deal with it, showing that Grundy was not only a formidable opponent, but also a threat on an extremely serious level. The only person who ever stopped Grundy, not with superior strength, but with empathy, was Hawkgirl. There was a complex and touching bond between the two, beyond the usual battle between good and evil. Hawkgirl was the only one who could calm Grundy and control the anger that was destroying him from within. Solomon Grundy is a multifaceted character. He has been described in many different ways, from a doomsday who always gets stronger with each defeat, to a Hulk-like creature who becomes more dangerous when enraged, or simply a giant angry zombie who cannot understand himself. In any form, Grundy always brings a deep sense of tragedy and loneliness. Many works have portrayed Grundy as a child trapped in a monster's body. He is often used by more intelligent villains, manipulating his thoughts and emotions to serve their own purposes. Simple lies like "I'm your friend" are enough to make Grundy trust them and fight for them, because he craves recognition and someone to be there for him. Batman is one of the few who truly understands this. He doesn't see Grundy as just a monster, but a lost creature looking for purpose and connection. Batman doesn't seek to destroy Grundy, but to help or solve the problem at the root. It's a deeply humane and thoughtful approach, but Grundy also comes back a little different with each resurrection. We've seen Grundy have a purpose a few times. For the most part, however, he's a very tragic character, acting on his anger, but mostly just wanting to be left alone. Darkness descends upon a ruined port city, where every tall building is nothing but rusted steel skeletons. In the pitch-black sky, lightning tears through the clouds, casting an eerie blue light that reflects off the black, swirling water. From the foggy swamps behind the abandoned industrial area, Solomon Grundy rises, his hulking figure charging toward a nuclear power plant near the edge of the harbor. Without reason, he destroys everything in his path, threatening to create a radioactive disaster that could flatten the entire city. The Thing in the flickering light of the lightning, he appears like a living wall, his body solid and his face resolute. The two giants face each other, both embodiments of pure power. There is no warning, no compromise. Grundy strikes first. He swings his fist like a living dumbbell, punching through mountains of steel containers. One slap from him was enough to blow away a truck, sending shockwaves through the air. The Thing backed away, not out of fear, but out of calculation. He understood that he was dealing with a creature with virtually no physical limits. Grundy grew stronger as he was struck, like an unquenchable hurricane. But Ben Grimm was more than a walking block of rock. He was a seasoned warrior, having fought countless battles against powerful foes from both Earth and space. He knew how to coordinate his forces, use his center of gravity, utilize his recoil, and use his rhythm. Each punch was not simply power, but also the accumulated technique of hundreds of previous battles. Between endless anger and iron determination, each collision between them caused the air to explode, the ground to crack, and the entire city to tremble as if witnessing the judgment of the gods. Solomon Grundy seemed to know no concept of fatigue. He was the embodiment of endurance and endless rage. Each time he was knocked down, he rose again, seemingly stronger than the last. His gray skin was covered in cracks, his lifeless eyes burned with a fire of madness. The blows that seemed strong enough to break an elephant's neck only made him pause for a moment, before continuing to charge forward like a relentless fighting machine. Ben Grimm, despite his rock-solid body, his arms began to show signs of damage, small cracks running along the outer shell. The dull pain forced him to take a step back to catch his breath. But there was no fear or surrender in his eyes. Instead, it was the look of a warrior waiting for the right moment to counter-attack. Realizing that he could not rely on pure strength alone to defeat Grundy, Ben Grimm changed tactics. He cleverly lured Grundy deeper into a nearby area where there was an old but still functioning high-voltage power grid. Every move was calculated. Grundy, blinded by rage, had no idea what was happening and charged forward, unaware that he was being lured into a trap. As Grundy got into position, Ben took the opportunity to flip the switch. Thousands of volts of electricity shot through Grundy's body, causing him to scream in pain. Despite his chaos magic giving him greater resistance than normal, the shock was enough to momentarily stun him. And that was all Ben needed. Without hesitation, he gathered all his remaining strength, springing up like a compressed spring. Using gravity, speed, and his massive body mass, he threw a powerful uppercut straight at Grundy's chin. The impact was thunderous, so powerful that Grundy was thrown off the ground, flying across part of the harbor and landing in the radioactive decontamination area, a toxic body of water that had been used to decontaminate nuclear material. The water splashed, the chemical vapors rose into a thick mist. Grundy disappeared into the murky water, leaving a rare moment of silence after the fierce battle, and Ben Grimm will always be ready and win. I hope you enjoy this fight. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Follow me if you like. That's it for today's video. Thanks a lot.